If you don't have any borders, then you don't have a nation, right? In a sense. So has historically the United States done well under Democrats and Republicans in protecting the border? The answer is no. Trump did a better job. I don't like Trump, but we should have a secure border, and it ain't that hard to do. Biden didn't do it.
That was Senator Bernie Sanders in October saying, if you don't have borders, you don't have a nation. Trump did a better job at securing the border than Joe Biden. Biden didn't do it. Look at the numbers, the stunning numbers now coming in. Illegal crossings now down to their lowest levels in over 50 years since Trump took office. Now, nearly 3 million illegal aliens have left the country in the past year. Plus, they've caught nearly 230,000 criminal illegal aliens, 7,800 gang members, more than 1,500 terrorists. That's what Biden and Democrats did to America. Let's welcome back to the show GOP Congresswoman Beth Van Duyne. Congresswoman, it's great to see you. So what do you make of this? I mean, murders are now at their lowest level since the year 1900. Crime is down double digits across the United States. What do you think? Was Biden opening the borders an historic abuse of America?
We've been saying that all along. The numbers don't lie. Absolutely, he was opening it. And what we saw was exactly what Tom Homan said. If you enforce the laws within 30 days, you'd have control of your border. And that's what happened when President Trump was elected. That's exactly what he did. And I appreciate the fact that Senator Sanders is now admitting this. I wish he had done it when Biden was president. And perhaps, if he had been joined by some of his colleagues, they would have agreed. But the fact is that, yes, we have a secure border now. Democrats are finally waking up to it. But does that mean that Senator Sanders is going to change his mind and going to fund Homeland Security, recognizing the fact that right now the Senate is the one that's holding out on that funding that we so desperately need? Yeah, so I guess we'll see.
We're monitoring the president is now speaking in Corpus Christi, your home state of Texas. Congressman, people are getting scared driving on U.S. highways. This is what the Trump White House is battling. 200,000 illegal migrant truckers. Many can't read traffic signs. 15 now dead in crashes. A trucker, the details more coming in. This guy who drove an 80-ton truck miles and miles down the wrong side of a highway in Missouri, almost killing people. He couldn't read traffic signs. Minnesota gave him his trucking license. Watch this. His trucking company was run out of a tiny 600-square-foot apartment in Minnesota. The company's only 2 years old.
No, we've seen this. We've seen this in Minnesota. We've seen it in California. We've seen it in New York, where these states are giving CDLs to people who cannot read, who cannot speak English, will not read our signs, do not know the roads, the rules of our road, and they are murdering people. You're giving licenses for people to basically take missiles on 18 wheels on our highways. I have a bill that we introduced last October that would actually help rid of this. It would prevent people from getting licenses. It would take funding away, DOT funding away from states that give licenses like this illegally to people who don't know the rules of the law. I have sent it into to the administration. I have sent it to Secretary Duffy, who seems very excited about it. We need to be able to pass these laws. I'm hoping to be able to get this on the floor of the House, and I would love it if the Senate would do its job and actually start passing some of the laws that we're sending over.
Now, we've got sound from a sheriff in Maryland. He's really outraged about Democrats' open borders. Watch that, and watch Democrat senators confronted for why they refused to stand up when President Trump asked them to stand in the State of the Union. If they agreed that the first duty is to protect American citizens. Watch this.
This is nothing more than politics over public safety. And we as elected sheriffs are fed up with it.
You didn't want to show the American people that you'd stand?
I show the American people where I stand every day.
What is your first responsibility, protecting American citizens or illegal aliens?
I'm just getting ready for hearing. Thank you.
What is your first priority, illegal immigrants or American citizens? You don't want to tell the American people that you prioritize them first? Illegal aliens or American citizens?
We're not there to perform for this guy. It was a speech filled of a bunch of grievances.
This guy, that meaning the president, those are U.S. Democrat senators not explaining why they wouldn't stand up and say, yes, we're supporting and protecting U.S. citizens. What do you think?
God bless. That was a softball. Do they not agree with that? How easy would that be to show? I mean, they sit here in their speeches to their constituents and say, oh, no, we're supportive. We don't play bipartisan politics. You can't stand up and say that this is what you stand for, that you actually will prioritize the American citizens over people in our country illegally. There was a softball. The president actually, didn't have to be performative theater. They gave that to him. And God bless, you're seeing that right now in ads that the GOP is coming out with to show this is the level of partisanship that Democrats are willing to play, that they would willingly not stand up just to say that American citizens, we stand with you. They'd actually sit down for this.
Interesting stuff. Congresswoman Beth Van Duyne, thank you so very much.